Can I start by saying, like, I'm sorry that Barry can't
We're
be
live,
here?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah.
right.
All right, everybody. Hi, we are live, coming to you as best as we can with technology. Clearly, I've got Kevin Smith here and Lynn Vanderslice. I'm going to come that way. So you wanted to say something.
I
about
just
Barry
wanted
not
to
being
say
here.
I apologize that Barry Vogel, Wilton's health director, can't be here. He's obviously busy with a lot of things, but Kevin and I are knowledgeable, so we can answer questions.
Okay. And I want to just remind you both, we're going to speak a little loudly, just not knowing
sure.
how well,
Okay.
because it is.
And we
yeah.
are violating the rule about we want to make sure that everybody can hear and see us, so we're going to take that risk.
All right. So clearly the news came out. We published it. You just alerted everybody with an announcement to the school community, just so that everybody knows Wilton schools are closed indefinitely. What was it that predicated that decision? How was the decision made? What happened?
Sure. So as the announcement that was sent out indicated, a short while ago, we had learned that a couple of our parents of one or more of our students was in direct contact with an individual, and I would say it's an individual who's not a Wilton resident.
Correct.
But an individual who is a possible presumptive positive for COVID-19. So really in coordination with Lynn and now certainly under the direction of Barry Bogle, out of an abundance of caution, we've elected to have the schools closed, as well as a number of other town youth serving agencies.
Yeah. So the other, waiting for the motorcycle to pass, the other buildings that have been closed that are town buildings are.
So the community center has been closed because kids come there for after school program and all sorts of programming. And then Trackside was ordered closed. Of course, we have the Genesis program there, and you have students there for after school programs. And we're reaching out to the other organizations that are private organizations and letting them know, and Barry's given some advice there. None of them are ordered to be closed, but advice based on the number of Wilton Public students that they might have gathering there.
How specific can you get? Is this a particular school that needs to be concerned? Is this and contact tracing in terms of any of the people within the school district that might have come in contact with the families?
I think there's something that I want to emphasize. There is no Wilton Public School student who has had direct contact.
Okay.
So what we're talking about, if you think, and if you've looked at the materials, you have the patient, you have the direct contact, then you have the next layer. Then you have a layer below that. So it's important to know that there isn't the direct contact. It was the parents who had the direct contact. And I will say that the direct contact occurred outside of Wilton.
That's right.
So we're closing all of these facilities because a student can move between schools, and the teachers or administrators can move between schools.
No, the social connections are strong. That's right.
Yeah.
People are involved all over the place. And so I think, what's important here is for folks to recognize that these actions are taken out of an abundance of caution. We're trying to prioritize individuals' health and safety. And, like Lynn mentioned before, people are all over the community, so we want to just be very cautious. With respect to our schools, our staff members are finishing up their meetings now. We are going to close all the buildings beginning at 5 tonight, and then initiate our deep cleaning process. So the buildings will be closed, which means we'll not have anybody in and out of the buildings for the next couple of days. And as we learn more information, again, working with Barry Bogle, we'll be able to make a decision about what happens in the near future here.
Okay.
So, and Barry has ordered, and I was reading it while I was running out here, but he's ordered, we are doing deep cleaning, and he's ordering additional deep cleaning, just kind of double checking. Barry, that the governor issued an emergency declaration, and so Barry does now have powers to order things like this. So that's happened.
In terms of how long, I know that this is all kind of happening moment to moment. Clearly the teachers and the staff were at school preparing for the what if. How long are you now prepared for this to go on, potentially?
Well, that's a really difficult question to answer because, as you just noted, the situation's unfolding rapidly. But we're going to follow the direction of our health officials, and we'll adjust as we need to. So in terms of what our plans are for continuity of instruction, we will not be implementing the continuity of instruction plans for tomorrow or Friday. I think we'll take some time, we'll gather some more information, and then depending on what that information reveals, we'll adjust accordingly for the following week.
So that means tomorrow and Friday are days off for students. They're not days of learning.
They are not days of learning, although I'd like to encourage every student to read, keep up with their math homework, pay attention to your social studies, exercise.
Follow the news, not follow the news. I don't know. Yeah.
Don't follow
Don't
the
follow
news.
the news.
Don't watch the news.
Stay home.
Do some self-care.
You're staying home. You're checking your temperature 2 times a day, in the morning and in the evening, and you're monitoring your health. If you have a fever, if you have a cough, and oh my gosh, I can't remember the third thing. Oh, shortness of breath.
Yeah.
Then you are to consult with your doctor.
Okay. In terms of communicating to families after the 2 days, tell us how that kind of communication is going to happen.
Right. Well, we're going to continue to update parents and the rest of the community as soon as we know information. So, our staff is working right now on a more comprehensive communication that will go out later today. And then we will, as we learn things or have information to share, we'll continue minimally on our daily cycle. And if we need to ramp up the amount of communication and shorten the timeline, we'll certainly do that as well.
Okay. One of the big questions that we've gotten leading up to this was how this relates to the 180 days. I mean, we already just talked about the next 2 days are days off. Does that get added to the end of the school year?
It does. At this point, that's exactly right. So we'll add these days to June. And the e-learning plans we have in place right now, we don't believe we're ready to go forward to the state with a waiver and ask that these days count. There are just too many variables, including, and very, very importantly, how we provide modifications and accommodations to students with particular learning needs. And so we just simply need more time, and we'll, as we move forward and see kind of what unfolds as this health crisis continues to emerge, whether or not we need to reevaluate.
Right. So for the time being, for what for the time being, I just want to make sure that people understand this.
Adding days at the end.
Adding days, and any kind of online at-home learning is also going to be added to the end of the school year, unless you hear differently from the state. For right now, that's what you have to consider.
What we're talking about with our e-learning plans is continuity of learning. So we don't want students to regress. But with a couple of exceptions, like AP tests, for example, where I think teachers are going to we're going to ask teachers to do some different things because different set of circumstances and expectations there. We're not looking to use these e-learning days to continue to advance the curriculum. There's too many variables to really make that happen in a meaningful way for so many kids.
Right. So has there been any discussion about changing spring break? I mean, at what point do you add on days at the end and then you cut into spring break, or what happens?
So I think we haven't made that decision yet, and we'll continue to look at that. And I'll tell you just personally, I'm always leery about taking days from spring break simply because families make plans and reservations so many months in advance, and it becomes highly disruptive. It becomes highly disruptive for staff. We also, depending on how this continues to unfold, we might need that time to clean and disinfect the schools.
Right.
So it's just too soon to make a determination at this point.
Okay. Another question that people have talked about in terms of you figuring out the time that it takes to plan or to do at-home learning. Some people we are right by town hall, so you're going to hear sirens. Some people have asked the question, maybe we'll wait until the sirens go by for me to ask this. And everybody, I apologize. I appreciate you sticking close with us. Got to make do with the technology and everything that's going on the fly. So one of the questions that people have asked is how the union requirements also fit into this. Has
Mhm.
there been an issue with working out the time that the teachers are spending as any part of this?
It hasn't been an issue, but this is certainly a subject of bargaining, and so we're entering into a memorandum of understanding with the teachers union to accommodate those days.
Okay. I know it's hard to say what that online learning will look like, but you did just spend a couple hours, and I know that there have been preparations. Can you give some idea? Could it possibly include pre-recorded lessons? Will people be meeting at the same time their class met? Just online, gathering online? Like, do you have any kind of idea of what that kind of learning might look
so,
like?
I think, we step back from that and recognize that we have learners, across the age continuum. So we have youngest learners in pre-K and kindergarten and our oldest learners in grade 12. And the needs of those students in the curriculum will really dictate the response. I would say in general, for most kids, what they'll experience if we move in this direction is that teachers will post assignments on Google Classroom. Some of these assignments will be standalone and project-based, and so kids will be expected to work on them. They'll have opportunities for some feedback from the teachers. I think the exception will be, and those plans are still under development, is what are the needs driven by some of the AP testing. And I think the other point I would make is this year we've been exceptionally fortunate in that we haven't had many school closures. I'll just remind everybody, 2 years ago, we were right up until the very end of June. So we've had to accommodate closures in the past and still have done an effective job of delivering the curriculum. And so we're asking people to be really flexible as we move forward and try out some new and different things. Some things are going to work really well, other things aren't. And people, again, we would just ask for some flexibility as we are all learning together.
Right. Sort of a left turn, but somebody asked the question about, up until now, you've encouraged kids, even with sore throats, even with colds, to stay home. Again, out of the abundance of caution, where in a situation where we weren't dealing with a pandemic, those kids might have been in school with a cold. Is there going to be any kind of leniency on the absentee policy and, the number of days that students are allowed to have?
Right. We're really taking the absence questions on a case-by-case basis right now, and so we'll be continuing to consult with our medical advisor, certainly taking guidance from the town health director. But if people have particular concerns, they should call my office, and we'll work out, those individual concerns.
Okay. Winter sports was canceled. Any idea about spring sports? Has there been any decision made or any plans made for spring sports?
Not yet. We're just, in a situation that's rapidly unfolding.
Okay. And same thing about any events that have been canceled or postponed. I mean, you look at field trips, you look at, other events, music festivals, and people are even asking about graduation at this point. Can you say what's going to be postponed, rescheduled?
If I had a crystal ball,
Yeah.
right, we'd be selling advice here. No, I don't have it. What I can say is, this is minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. And as we continue to get information from the state and from, our local health providers, we'll make those decisions and communicate them as proactively as possible. But at this point, as was published earlier this week, we'll reevaluate for next week, and we'll go from there.
Okay. In terms of you, Lynn, anything else at this point that you want to add? Anything, developing, anything else that you want people to know?
Not really anything different than the same message, that maintain your health, maintain the health of your family members. Again, the fever, the cough, the difficulty breathing. Make sure you talk to your doctor, and just really, we're all going to have to be a little less social, keep the distance, stay home. There are certain people that are going to have to work no matter what. Our firefighters, our police officers, EMS. We have wonderful volunteers in town who are continuing to come here and volunteer as EMS personnel. Our mechanic that takes care of the fire truck, he's going to have to be here. I've been asked about, shutting down the entire town, sending home all town employees. That's not possible because we provide essential services in these types of situations. And, we've got cars going up and down the street. You need to go to the grocery store to pick up your milk and bread and whatever else. We all do. So we all have to continue on with our lives, but we need to be more careful and we need to be responsible citizens. And really, that's my message to everyone.
Okay. And Kevin, any other final words or anything else that you want to say?
I would certainly underscore everything that Lynn just said. And if people are looking for resources, if they go to the main page of the district, so www.wiltonps.org, there's an orange bar at the top. If you click on that, it takes you to a district resource page about COVID-19. I have been particularly concerned about the heightened anxiety among some of our youngest children, so there are lots of really good resources to help parents and others talk to kids and respond to questions. And I think, that's my advice too, is everybody we need to live our lives. We need to understand the facts as they are and not go chasing rumors. And we all just need to kind of relax and, make sure that we're caring for ourselves and caring for others.
Yeah. I was looking through yesterday. Andrea Leonardi sent something out to the families whose students receive services through her department. And she said how these, psychologists and some of the other caseworkers were going to be available, that there's a special email address that she'd set up and that she distributed. I know that that's all really hard to manage. A lot of the concern is social, emotional,
Sure.
The worries that some of the kids have.
Right. So here's a great opportunity. If we're telling people to practice social distancing and we have all kinds of athletic events or other events that have been canceled or postponed, what a great opportunity to spend time with your family, get together, cook a meal, try something new, play a game, enjoy each other's company, all those things that we worry about because we never seem to have enough time. Here's an opportunity. If we frame it the right way, this can be a tremendous gift for some of our families.
Yeah. It's true, because when do you ever sit down and play a game anymore? We used to love it.
Tonight
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Right?
And I will
Smith
say,
kids, I'm coming for you. Monopoly.
The Comstock, we've said we've closed the building, but social services will still be working. So, they have a number of people that they work with. So I want people to know those services are still available. They don't have a lot of Wilton Public School students come through certain sections of that building, so they may be working there, or they may be working here in Town Hall. We'll get them moved, but those services are not gone. They're like the firefighters and so forth, police officers that continue to work even if buildings are closed.
Right. Okay. Do you have any questions representing students? All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank the both of you for making yourselves available.
Sure.
As always, the information you're providing everybody has really helped put a lot of fears at ease.
All right, good.
I will be in touch with everyone. If you've got questions, email them to me. I know that the two officials here have been very responsive, and we'll just kind of keep taking things day by day. All right, thanks everybody, and stay healthy. Wash your hands.